Hello.
Hi.
What is your name?
Vivian.
Where are you from, Vivian?
I'm from Orange.
You're from Orange?
Yeah, I'm from Orange.
Okay, cool.
Orange.
Have you ever been on camera before?
I have not.
You have not? Well, welcome. It's a really fun experience.
Cool.
What does 9/11 mean to you?
9/11 means a day of remembrance. Sorry, my music is playing.
No, you're good.
Day of remembrance and solitude for those who, bravely went into the World Trade Towers to save others, and also a day that was, I don't want to say, no, it was somber. I didn't know much about the other side, like the terrorists and all that stuff. I never looked into it that much, but to me, it's like a day of remembrance and solitude for everybody.
Where were you when 9/11 happened?
I was on my way to school in the back of my family's Ford Taurus. I was in 8th grade, I think, 7th grade. And yeah, on my way to school with my little sister and my brother. Yeah.
What do you remember?
Just sitting in the car, and then we just heard it, and then it just got really quiet, and my dad was just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then it was really sad.
Where were you?
In the car, literally on the way to school.
On the way to school, where
Yeah.
though?
Where?
Yeah.
Here in Orange.
In Orange, okay.
Yeah, in Orange. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And then what did you feel like? I mean, you were probably pretty young, so I don't know if you remember, but that evening and the day after, do you remember what your family felt like, what you felt like?
I remember that evening was just really quiet and really sad. School in general was really sad, and the next day everyone was just kind of we were cautious. It was a really cautious feeling and kind of uneasy, and we felt just not sure what was going to happen next. Especially in my lifetime, nothing like that's ever happened. And so for me at least, I felt everywhere we would go, we were like, oh, is something else going to happen? Is it going to happen here in Orange? We didn't know, so it was scary.
So it was just not knowing what was
exactly.
going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think people came together in a time where they didn't know what was going to happen next?
I think so.
Yeah.
I definitely think so, especially during that period of time. I think everyone came together, and it was, all about, hey, America, this, let's get together and stay strong and be strong. And again, I think a lot of it was because of the unknown, because that hadn't happened to us before, or at least not in a long time.
Do you think that we've had a moment since then when we've been that unified as a country?
Wouldn't say lately. Everything seems pretty divided lately. So no, not as of late. Maybe specifically on this day in general, but the rest of the year I wouldn't say so, no.
What do you think that we can do as Americans to act more together as one unit as Americans without having to have days like what happened on 9/11 to bring us together?
I think we can be more empathetic and just be more open-minded, and instead of trying to be against each other, to come up with a solution together. I think everybody wants to, do this and do that, but it's just more so of I just don't feel like it's truly in the grand scheme for the good of everybody, just more a select part or organizations or certain people. I just think that if people were more empathetic and looking more towards a solution-based thing, or whatever solutions period, then we would be more peaceful in general and more American. How long is this interview?
It's great. You're doing great. Do you have any last words? Anything else you want to say?
No.
To the people out there?
No, but I love America. I hope that we can all come together really soon. I have a young daughter, and it would kill me if, one day she was going to school with her little sister, and then she had to hear something like that. I wouldn't, obviously I'm prepared and to explain to her this is life, unfortunately, but I hope that others would be more towards a solution, everybody inclusive way of thinking rather than.
Yeah. Now that Has having a kid changed your, if you,
Oh,
if you need to go?
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
I was going to say it changed your perspective.
Yes, 1,000%, 1,000%. Like, you know, there were times where I would, you know, want to go out and say what I want to say. Like, even right now, I'm kind of like shaking because I do have a kid. So what if like someone doesn't agree with what I'm saying or whatever? But at the end of the day, if something ever did happen to me because I was doing something that I believed in, which is America, fuck yeah. Sorry. Then that's fine. Then I'm happy. Yeah.
Cool. And yeah.
Cool.
Well, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
How you doing?
Good.
That's it?
Yeah, I'll take a sip. How you doing today?
How are you?
Chilling, man.
What's your name?
Did you have this on?
Yeah.
I'm Damien.
Damien. I'm
Yeah.
Max. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Max.
Where are you from, Damien?
I'm originally from California.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, you know, grew up. My dad's military actually.
Really?
So we grew up traveling and saw a lot of the world and stuff like that.
Cool.
Pretty groovy.
What does 9/11 mean to you?
I mean, you know, obviously there's the atrocity that happened, the Twin Towers, you know, falling down, stuff, being hit and stuff like that. But I think, you know, what really kind of, I feel like it has a big symbol of how we all came together, unified, and really saw like, hey, we need to come together kind of thing. And, you know, yeah, that's about it. I think that's a really, you know, and besides that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is, man.
So like you're saying after we
After
became
the
unified.
fact about, you know, we were able to come together and kind of, you know, unite as a country. So I think that's a pretty important part that we needed at that certain time period with a lot of stuff going on. Like that.
It's interesting how during that time period after having one of the worst things happen, that's when we were the most close.
Mhm.
And it's like, personally, I think it's a shame that it has to be that way.
Yeah, no, totally. I agree. And I think the main thing too is like when we do look back on, you know, 9/11, is to, because I lived in the Middle East for about 2 years, so I got to meet a lot of, you know, Muslim people, and I got to meet a lot of Arab people. And the main importance is that, like, especially, you know, I've noticed in the past couple of years is that a lot of people are bringing back a lot of hate towards other religions and ethnicities, and I feel like we got to remember that there's bad apples everywhere, and there's bad apples no matter where we go. So you can't classify a whole set of people as these negatives because we had a negative. So I think there's, you know, it's important. I don't know, you know what I mean? There's just that, you know, seeing both sides of it, but, you know, still knowing that 9/11 was a thing that happened to us. It's horrible.
Yeah,
For sure.
for sure. How do you think we can, like, so taking that moment, like 9/12, when we were super unified, how do you think nowadays, under the amount of non-unification, I'd say, personally, I think that our country, at least from an external, like objective standpoint, we seem more divided than ever. Not than ever, but very divided.
Yeah, very divided.
So what do you think we can do as a country to come together, maybe like we did on 9/12, without having that big event, that terrible thing happen?
I think the best way for us to come back together is to really just stop going to polarities, man, the opposite ends of each spectrum. Really, I think we need to come together in the middle and be like, hey, both sides have good points. Both sides see something that other side doesn't see. No one right side is right, you know, whether you're all the way on the left, whether you're all the way on the right, or whatever religion, whatever it may be. No side has it 100% right. If we all come together and meet in the middle, we can continue and, you know, eventually make this country back to this mega power and how we were, and we still can be the greatest country. I think, you know, the middle is the way to go, and figuring that shit out. So.
True. Do you have anything else you want to say to the people out there?
People out there, you know, just try to see every side of the story, you know, and try to not be so close-minded to other people's views, and that's the real way we, you know, live harmoniously with each other.
Sure. Well, thank you, Damien.
Well, thank
I really
you, man.
appreciate your time. Thanks for sitting down.
Of course.
Thanks, dude. Why'd you sit down today?
I don't know. You seem like a nice guy.
Thanks.
Let's sit by, you know.
I look friendly enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Nice to meet
Thank you, man.
Really
Have a
appreciate
great
it.
day.
See you later.
Hi,
What-
I'm Kat.
There you go. Where are you from, Kat?
I'm from just outside Seattle.
Okay. And what does 9/11 mean to you?
Well, I actually just did a project on it, so I really understand that it's like why it changed the world so much. And I learned that it was such like a nice day, and then all of a sudden there were these planes like crashing into New York, and how there weren't just two, there were four. And so I learned that it was really influential in for so many ways, not just like the people that lost family members. So what it means to me is I now have like a better understanding of never forget, because I saw images of what the demolished buildings look like, and people said it was like Pompeii. And so now it's like, it's more than just, oh, that was another bombing, another violent event, but that there were so many people that died, and we don't want to forget them because they got like burned to dust. So you can't really have a physical funeral for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what it means to me.
Why do you choose to sit down here today? You're the first person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I saw this and I just was walking back to campus. I go to Chapman, and so I didn't really have anything to do and was just working on my project like earlier today, so I thought it would be cool. And I like doing this kind of thing. I want to be in acting, so.
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I'm in documentary, so that's why
cool.
I'm doing this.
That's awesome.
Well, not
Me too.
why, but it makes sense that I'm doing this. But cool. Do you have anything you want to say to people out there about 9/11, or things that they should think about, or things like that?
Sure. I think that they should really do their research and understand why it was so influential, and it's not just like, oh, we're taking a break from homework and learning about this violent event, because George Bush said in the documentary I watched about 9/11 that like 20 years later it's become meaningless to people, and I feel like that's kind of the case. And that can happen so often with a lot of violent events that are just happening back to back, which it almost becomes like normal, and that shouldn't ever be the case. So I think really doing your research and understanding why we say never forget is important.
Awesome. Well, what was your name again?
Kat.
Kat. Thank you so much, Kat, for sharing and
to meet you.
sitting down and talking with me.
Of course.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, good luck on your documentary.
Thank you.
Endeavors. Cool.
Well, have a great day. Thanks. Yeah, thank you. See you later. See ya. So I think I just want to acknowledge something I did. I made a mistake. So I have this American flag. My plan was to bring it, and at the end of the video, I wanted to hang it over the sign and then like just kind of leave that, and that'll still probably be the end of the video. But I learned a very important lesson today, which is to never let the American flag hit the ground. It always should be hanging. It can't touch the ground, merchandise, water. I just looked it up, but I know that now because this guy walked by, thanks to him, and he said nothing except, hey, do you mind taking the flag off the ground? Just because I had it like next to all my stuff. And yeah, that's a pretty valuable lesson to learn. So if you have an American flag, don't let it touch the ground. It's disrespectful and dishonoring it. You're fine. Yeah, you're good. Thanks. But yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge that flaw and that mistake that I made. Now I learned from it, and I'm going to hang it promptly right here. Manny walked by, and I made the mistake of having the American flag on the ground. So my plan was I was going to, like at the end of the podcast, like hang it up over this, and then that would be the end. But yeah, I was ignorant and did not know.
It's okay. That's what we talk to each other, right?
Yeah,
That's
and I learned
over here, right?
But Manny told me, and I really appreciate that. So thank you so much for that. And so where are you from?
I'm from Northern California,
Okay.
but I live here I moved out here with the United States Marine Corps when I joined.
Okay.
So I did some training in Camp Pendleton, and then I went to Memphis, Tennessee to do more training, and then I moved out here, and I got married, and I brought my wife out here. So she's from San Jose too. So.
Okay, cool. And what does 9/11 mean to you?
It reminds us of that we are the greatest country in the world, but if we don't watch and help each other and remain cognizant of what's going on, that tragedies like that can happen.
And where were you when 9/11 happened?
I had just woken up. I was awake and groggy from work when I saw the second airplane going into the building.
Were you in California? Were you
I was actually, where was I living? I was living here in Santa Ana, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were you in the military at the time?
No, I was not.
Oh, you weren't?
Yeah,
were
I was
you?
out.
Was that before your service or after?
That was after. I got out in 1996.
Okay. So as a prior veteran, how do you think that impacted your reaction versus like someone else's to like what happened on 9/11? Do you think that changed your perspective?
Yes, that we've gotten a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? That we're not aware of our surroundings as much as we used to. I think we're not paying attention. I think we're a little bit naive thinking we're so safe, and we're not.
And do you think the events that happened on that day are like just proving that that's true?
The events were tragic, but one thing it did do was it brought people together, looking after each other. All the race baloney that you hear went by the wayside. In the Marine Corps, everybody's green, and for that moment, it seemed like the country felt like everybody was green, and everybody you see heroic. I mean, I was watching. My eyes were peeled to the TV. You see heroic actions by normal people, helping each other. People that couldn't see, guiding them out. Some people carrying other people. It was tragic, and I hope it never happens again. But we have to remain aware of our surroundings, what the world is doing. Just because the world is perfect here does not mean that it will always be perfect here.
And do you think that if something like that were to happen today, that you talked about random people doing like amazing heroic acts, do you think people would have the same reaction and put themselves in a situation to help save other people?
I think so. This is America. We don't concentrate on the good stuff. Everything is about tragedy or about talking about gossip, things that are really not that important in life. I'm a little bit older. I'm over 50 years old, and I appreciate where I live. I've seen other countries where they don't like us, they don't have our freedoms, they don't have our rights, and I think we lost focus of our values of our civil rights and the amendments. We take them for granted. We use race as a what's the word I'm looking for? As an excuse for our actions sometimes. It shouldn't be that way. When my father came to this country, he sat on the back of a bus, and he's a light-complected Hispanic. He sat in the back of the bus because he's Hispanic. He didn't speak English, but that's where he was supposed to ride. And the cool thing about when he came to this country, African Americans kind of helped him. He didn't speak English very well, and he joined the Army, and the African American culture looked after him because we have a lot in common with the African American culture. The food we eat, the way we deal with our family, the parties we throw. We like dancing, we like eating, we have cultural foods. We're very much similar, and so my father was able to find comfort. When he came to this country, he didn't have anybody here. So,
and do you think there's a way that we can become as united as we were on 9/12 without a 9/11 happening?
I don't know. We have to put our differences aside. When I came from Northern California, as I told you, I came from Silicon Valley. The first thing I noticed was, and I spent a lot of time in Los Angeles, is it's so divided there. It's segregated. I didn't grow up that way. You know, people were different in my neighborhood. You know, some people were Hispanic, some people were white, some people were black. You know, we didn't look at it that way. I get here, and that's the first thing I noticed. Los Angeles is very segregated. You got the Asians, and they're all segregated too amongst each other. The Koreans, the Chinese, and all the different races. And then you have another part where it's the Jewish people, and then you have another part where it's Armenians and so forth. So it's very divided over there. And then you got the Hispanics and African Americans living in the bad part of town. So that's what I see, and I think we need a leader to bring us together. You know, all we have is a lot of rhetoric, a lot of abuse of social media. You know, we don't tell the truth anymore. We just tell a narrative that we want everybody to see, and we got to stop that. This is our country. We got to take it back. We got to take it back from the media, and the media only plays what they want you to hear, and that's unfortunate. I think that the media before growing up, they had a lot of integrity in what they spoke about. Now everybody is about how can I get the highest ratings. So unless we have everybody coming to the table, we're going to suffer more tragedies. That's how I feel.
Do you have any last words for the people out there, people watching?
Take care of each other. Look at what we have more in common than our differences. You know, you never know who's going to help you. It could be a homeless guy. I've been helped by people who are homeless. You know, I've also been helped by people of other religions, of other ethnicities. After 9/11, it was terrible what some of my friends were suffering who were Arabic, and you know, they suffered at the hands of other people, throwing eggs at them, items, you know, calling them names. That was terrible. They're still Americans.
Islamophobia.
Islamophobia. And you have to remember that at the end of the day, we're not Mexican American, we're not Italian American, we're American. We're not LGBTQ. I hate how Southern California labels everybody. All that is name calling. We got to stop that. We're all Americans. We're not much different. And that's pretty much all I got to say.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. Manny, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Manny.
Okay.
Really appreciate it.
All righty.
Have a great
pleasure.
day. You want to put the mic on real quick and introduce yourself? Hi. Hi. Sarah. Hello, Sarah. Hello.
Kaiten.
Kaiten. I'm Max.
Nice to meet you, Max.
Kaiten, that's a cool name.
Thanks.
Where are you from, Kaiten?
San Clemente, California.
San Clemente.
Yep, little beach town.
Big surfer guy?
Not much anymore, but I was when I was younger.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
What does 9/11 mean to you, Kaiten?
What does 9/11 mean to me? I actually remember it. I was 9 years old. And to me, well, what was going on at the time, I honestly didn't really understand it as it was happening. Planes crashed into a building. And I kind of really didn't understand the weight of it. And I think a lot, because when the planes hit the towers, we were kind of like, what's going on? First plane hit, we're like, is this an accident? Because we've seen planes crash into buildings before, and they were accidents. But when the second one hit, people were like, well, this is starting to seem intentional. And then we have the Pentagon and then United 93, I believe. I went down in Pennsylvania. But my parents, when I was 9 years old, what they were telling me was that America's being attacked, and it was the first time since Pearl Harbor. And that's when I noticed, like, everything's pretty heavy, and we're in a weird place right now. The country was in a weird place, and I didn't understand politics, Republican or Democrat, but you know, with how divided the country is right now, like, I could still feel that this day brings people together. It's like, put all that aside, like, this country was attacked, and it is a great country that's had its problems, but it's still the best there's been so far. And to think that there are people that don't like that, they don't like the liberty and the freedoms of the West, that you are free to act moral, you're free to act immoral. And you know, when people often, I'm Christian, and when people bring up like, oh, all these religions and cultures are equal, it's like, I'm sorry, that's not true. There are some cultures that are obviously better. And I think the fact that our culture has bred freedom, you could be free to choose your religion, free to choose your lifestyle, that comes from the Judeo-Christian value system. Our founding fathers gave our God-given rights, right? It's that principle. And what 9/11 symbolizes is that there are people from a different culture and different religion and said, no, you can't let people do what they want. And literally the reason they hate America is because we have freedom. We let people do what they want, whether it's wrong or right. Obviously within bounds, you know, you could murder someone, but there's gonna be consequences. You know, liberty is obviously, I like to say liberty is you're free to do as you please as long as you don't prevent anyone else from doing as they please. So 9/11 was an attack on liberty. And I believe it was an attack on Judeo-Christian values. And while we're more secularized and a lot of people have walked away from Christianity, I think what's happening is now, whether you believe in Christ or not, there's a moral foundation that's missing right now, and there's moral degradation in this country, which frightens me because I'm like, this is what the terrorists kind of wanted. They wanted to see the country collapse. We're fighting, you know, left and right, because one side, the right, is like, no, the founding principles are perfect the way they are. And then you have the other side is like, they're not perfect the way they are at all. We need to do away with the whole thing. It's like, maybe it's both. Maybe it's one side or is a little more right than the other. But I think Americans need to remember that it was our founding principles that were being attacked, our ideas. That's what makes a country. It's a border. A border is literally separating the ideas of Canada and America, Mexico and the United States. It's a separation of ideas on how we decide to live and how we decide to interact with one another on a day-to-day basis. So I say, let's remember that it is a great thing and that some people are trying to take that away from us. And as Afghanistan, we pull out of there right now, it's a complicated thing. And as while some people may say the way we left was good or the way we left was bad, there's one good thing that came out of it is we don't have any more 9/11s like this. And I hope we don't have any more in the future. That's what 9/11 means to me.
A lot of people say that 9/12 was like the most unified we've been as Americans in like modern history. How do we take our circumstance that we're in now and take how unified we were on that day to now without having a 9/11 happening?
How can we take those principles of unity? Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Or do you think there will always be division?
There will always be certain levels of division, and let's be honest, this isn't the most divided we've been. I mean, we had a civil war. It seems like it could head in that direction. It seems like it might not. But what we need to remember on what happened on 9/12 is that
definitely need to fix that. It's all second. But yeah, did you want to finish your?
9/12, the unity that happened. So the reason why there was unity on 9/12, I believe, is because Democrats and Republicans all used to agree, conservatives and liberals, they agreed that the founding principles of America were good. We just disagreed on certain things like economic policy, tax codes, certain social issues, but we at least agreed that the founding principles of America were great. And I've been trying to be neutral in this whole thing, but unfortunately, it's not the entire Democrat Party, and it's sad to see them super split right now, because you literally have the disintegrationist left, which is like, America is bad, it needs to be taken down, it's terrible, it sucks. And you have the other liberals who are like, hold on, that's not true. And they're like, we don't want to sound like conservatives, and like, we love America so much. And I'm like, well, I don't believe that's what conservatives are just about, like, oh, just America's great all the time. But we need to get back to a place where we agree, like when something like 9/11 happens, it's like, we all saw that as an attack on us as Americans, and us as Americans that believe in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. But now we have, I don't know, maybe 25%, give or take, of our voting populace right now who thinks America is just evil and terrible. And that's why there's so much unity right now, and why until people understand on a deeper level why America is the way it is, and people don't understand how bad the rest of the world is, or how bad history has been to humanity, just life itself. We've done a good job here in America of mitigating suffering, being prosperous, bringing prosperity to the world. So until everyone acknowledges that, and I think our school systems failed that. They failed our younger generations by not showing history accurately. I think I don't know how old you are. How old are you?
21.
21, yeah. Like, I'm 29, your generation, my generation. It's like, we don't understand really. I do now. What went on in USSR or Maoist China or Vietnam when Pol Pot rose to power. Or no, it was Cambodia, Pol Pot. But what happened there was, it was a similar narrative. It's like, our country's bad, founding principles are bad, the West is bad, so we're gonna do everything the opposite of America. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but this country's great. And as Winston Churchill said, I think he said it about free markets, about capitalism. He's like, it's the worst system out there, except for all the other systems. So it's like, it's not perfect, but it's the best we've got, and it's caused prosperity in the world. So until people realize how bad things can be, they will finally look at this and be like, wow, this is actually pretty good. And the bad things that happen here are not as bad as they could be.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Any last words?
Any departing words? Yeah. The only way this country is going to continue to uphold its values is if, I believe it was John Adams who said, our Constitution will only work and will only stand a chance if we have a moral and decent society. The problem right now is people think they could come up with their own morals. They think morality is subjective, the world is subjective. And I'm here to tell you that sadly, actually no, happily, it is not subjective. There are objective truths about the world and about humanity. And based off of the evidence around us in the freest, greatest country, the Judeo-Christian values, the Bible itself has proven to be tried and true. And I think we need to get back to deeply understanding the Bible. And I'm calling out all the Christian churches out there. There's so much just garbage theology out there, so much just terrible, terrible theology. And it's caused a lot of people to walk away from that. And as Andrew Breitbart said, politics is downstream of culture. But then I think to go even further, culture is downstream of our religious beliefs. And if we don't have that anymore, if morals now become subjective, we can now, like what Hitler did, he justified that the Jews were vermin and they were rats, and he made that justification and killed them, right? We're not that far off from saying it. The Republicans think Democrats are deplorable. The Democrats think Republicans are deplorable. And it's like, sorry, we have to work together. We're not going to get rid of the other party. We have to work together. But that's not going to happen unless we can't agree on just a moral foundation. So I urge everyone, give the Bible, give Christianity another chance, but maybe look to some intelligent Christians like Jordan Peterson, his biblical lectures, William Lane Craig, right? The Bible is an intellectual piece of work. It's not just for the heart or for the spirit. It is for those things, but I think we've left out the knowledge part of it. So that's my departing statement.
Well, thank you so much.
Yep.
Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. What are your guys' names?
That's Jill.
I'm Jill.
Hello, Jill.
Hello.
And what is your
I'm
name?
Dan.
You're Dan.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you guys. Where are you guys from?
Mission Vale.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Mission View.
Awesome. And what does 9/11 mean to you?
It was pretty shocking, but
Tragic.
and it was really tragic. I feel bad for everybody, this is really sad. But I always go to the root of the problem. What did we do to piss these people off so much? That's my main thing, is what has America done to make someone so angry that they would do what they did? That's going to the root. What is it? I haven't got the answer. I'm not from there, where America has gone and done whatever they've done to make people so angry. And I love America, but I love America so much that I'm going to be blinded of stepping on other people's toes or what is the cause? What is the root cause? And that's basically all I got to say. Just look, to what started it all.
What do you believe the root cause was yourself?
I don't know enough to know what goes on over. I guess most of those guys were from. Where was Bin Laden from originally?
He's from Afghanistan.
No. He was from. What's the country he's from? It wasn't Iran. It wasn't Iraq. It was.
I thought it was Afghanistan.
No, it wasn't. That's where he hid out, or was hiding out. It wasn't actually where they actually get him at. So, the United Arab, what was the king of that executed the reporter? Do you know where that is?
I do not know.
I'm not sure, and I think it's.
Really, just because it escapes me for exactly where he's from, but it's where we have a lot of dealings, money-wise, oil-wise, and so I don't know.
Saudi Arabia, no.
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
There you go,
There
Saudi
you go.
Arabia. Most of the terrorists were from Saudi Arabia. Most of the guys that flew those planes were from Saudi Arabia.
Which
Sorry,
comes
they-
back to oil.
It's good.
And,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it comes down to.
And I just think a lot of innocent people died for whatever we did to create a monster that we created. And I'm not giving them a pass, saying, "Oh, geez, it's our fault." But the root is where do we misstep, and where do we need to rethink what we do? That's all. That's basically all I got to say about it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Do you want to, if you're going to talk, you guys can, you can share the microphone. Just put it up towards your mouth. And then the camera's right there if you want to
Oh,
face
Jesus.
the camera.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Do you acknowledge, are you okay being on camera?
Oh, yeah. That's
Okay, got it.
Well, no, I don't know if it's necessarily like them or us. I think it's it kind of comes to the mentality of. I think part of the problem. I disagree with the fact that people said we should add foresight on this. On the pure fact of is that. In that culture, they will do things that we would never think of possibly doing, and so it's a much more, I don't know if it's more committed or it's so much more intense, or that we can't even think of somebody taking a plane and creating it as a bomb, I think it's just, but I do think on the point he's saying, what did we do? I think it's more of like, I just don't think the world gives an understanding to each other all the way around. It's just because you have a difference of opinion or you have a different religion or you have a different, doesn't mean that you don't have to be right all the time. You can have your own beliefs, but just because somebody believes something else doesn't make you wrong, it doesn't make them wrong. It's a different belief. And I think that the culture right now is very divided, and it doesn't. And I think
It doesn't what?
It doesn't help with the whole culture of trying to bring the world together and have a difference of opinion, but also respecting each other. COVID, all of this has really shown a lot on the fact of the way people, I'm patriotic, but I don't want to wear a mask to help somebody else. Or I'm this and I don't want to help. So there becomes a selfishness. And I think that's what a lot of other countries see Americans as selfish. And it's me, my, whatever is best for me. And not whatever is best for, not just you, but everybody. And I think that needs to change, because it doesn't mean, you can't, it doesn't mean that just the wealthy have to be the ones to make the rules or be the ones to survive. I mean, there's so many different levels of people. And, this whole last 4 years have shown a lot of why maybe 9/11 happened. Just the dynamics of it. That there is an absolute, I see a severe lack of empathy from people, and that can flow over to other countries being angry, So
What is this for?
So this is just for YouTube, and so I have a YouTube channel called World, and my motto is start a conversation, save the world. So my main thing is I do podcasts weekly with just guests, and I go to an activity with them in their element. So I did a podcast with this helicopter pilot named Fred North, who films for Michael Bay and Transformers and stuff. And then I did one with a surfer, and I went in the water with him, and he talked about his process and things like that. And then every once in a while, this is my third, I come here and I do this, where I have a sign up with a topic. So I did what does Memorial Day mean to you? What does Pride Month mean to you? And then this is what does 9/11 mean to you?
Yeah.
When I feel like there's an event or something of significance that I want to generate a conversation around with all opinions, and then I want to share those with people and encourage people, regardless of what they believe, to talk.
I mean, it's incredible. It's been 20 years. I mean, it's. I do remember that day specifically, and the fear of our kids were in grade school then, and it's like, oh, do we send them? Do we not? And having to try and really make sure that they didn't see too much. You want to educate them, but not to the point. I think my niece saw too much, and she really had nightmares over it. Because there was so much shown on the news.
It's funny.
If you want to talk, do you mind putting the microphone? Even if you just hold it near your mouth, it's all good.
I've changed on 9/11, and maybe probably a good 6 months afterwards, I was like, yeah, let's go kick ass. I was right in there. But after everything that's happened and since, and then you got your Afghanistan and getting out of being in Afghanistan for so long, I've totally changed. We really need to rethink what we're doing. And
I don't feel
we're not the police of the world, but yet we are the significant power. You just really got to be even more careful. You are the significant power. What moves you make.
Which can, anger people. That can anger people to where, there is action taken, but...
See, you got it now.
Like in Afghanistan, for every for every one Taliban you kill, you create 6 more. Yes, that's true. For every drone that we wipe out, certain hostiles, you create their family members that have lost, because Uncle Joe or whatever, you've killed him and you've killed maybe some of his family. You create more hostility. So it's like you gotta watch what the hell you're doing. And balls out is not the thing to do. Just because we're American, we can do it. We can flex our muscle. It's going to come back and bite you in the butt. And that's what happened in 9/11. Big time. It didn't need to happen.
Yeah, it was tragic. It was. And, I just think people just need to start looking at, who we're being as people. Not just other countries, but with ourselves. And, it's I guess you come back to hatred, because there's been a lot of it, and hatred doesn't. It just keeps festering and festering, and when you have hatred, yes, people can do you wrong, but to have that hatred over somebody that you don't even know, that all it does is just, fester and make people angry, and when you're angry, you do things that you never thought you would do. So, and we don't, I don't know that world over there, but I know it's totally different. And, why did the hatred get so far? But I see it here now. And that's scary. Because I've seen people go against each other just for political views here in America. So why wouldn't it happen with another country here? That's, I think, some of the biggest problems right now, is that there is no empathy for other people. It's me. I'm not saying everybody, but it is like a something that is happening, and not just 9/11, but like the crises that we have had with COVID, with the political. It is showing how much division there is, and again, lack of empathy for other people. That's really kind of what it's coming down to, and then that creates hatred. So,
do you feel like you guys want to say last words real quick?
I just feel, that was a big awakening, and I hope we don't have to go through that again. I feel for all the families. I feel for all the police, the firemen, and the after effects of 9/11, from health issues, from helping. It was tragic. It really was. And I hope that we never have to go through that again. So.
Last words? Oh, okay.
Yeah, nothing good really comes from hatred. and I've hated, and I don't think I ever benefited from it. When you feel yourself in a hatred mode, you just need to take a step back and look at all sides.
There you go. What were your guys' names again?
Jill?
Jill?
I'm Dan.
Dan. Very nice to meet you guys. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
problem.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah? Go for it. Well. Vivian comes up, and then Max. Very nice to meet you. You can grab the mic right there and then just clip it to your shirt.
Pull this away. Here we go.
There you go.
All right.
You're Matt?
Matt, yep.
Max, nice to meet you. Where are you
Nice to meet
from?
Well, I'm from Long Beach, but I'm originally from Boston.
Okay,
So
cool.
I lived there for most of my life in Boston.
Really?
So yeah.
Cool. So what does 9/11 mean to you?
It's a tough day for everyone, I think, and out of tragedy, for me, it means unity. Because even though 9/11 was such a bad day, you look at 9/12/2001, everyone, it doesn't matter race, political affiliation, economic status, everyone was an American. Everyone was a person for others, and everyone wanted to live and do whatever they could. And out of tragedy, there's always some kind of hope. And I think the three most powerful things we can hold as human beings are hope, love, and belief. And that's what happened out of 9/11. And you know, it directly affected myself. I'm 37 years old, but we all knew someone, neighbors, friends of friends, dads, uncles, etc., that were there. And it's as sad as it is, and you know, I still think about today, and you know, I still get choked up about it. But out of it became unity and faith in the country. And you know, you didn't see someone for the color of their skin. You saw someone for who they were. They were someone, an American. They were someone who believed in the true values of what this country stood for.
Yeah. You talk about the what being an American represented on 9/12. What do you think? How do you think that definition has changed?
That definition changed because I don't think people know that feeling. I think the new generation coming up and the younger kids, it's not as fresh in their mind. And I think it's harder for them to see because you only see it in history books and online and all these little snippets. They didn't. My generation, as I said, we saw it, we felt it, we were there, and with everyone else. And now that unity has changed because we're distancing ourselves. And this happens throughout the course of history. It's not their fault or anything. It's that the further you go from it, which is 21 years ago today, the further it's going to be, you know, in your stomach and get that gut-wrenching reaction.
Do you think that? What do you think that we can do going into the future as that becomes farther and farther away? It's like the 50th year, the 100th year anniversary, and then soon enough, no one's alive that was even there during 9/11. Like, what can we do to preserve what it means and that feeling of unity that we felt on 9/12?
Well, I think that feeling of unity, as you said, as we distance itself, it's falls on the shoulders of, you know, the older generation. I hate to say that, and myself and people who experience it to tell. And you know, it sucks, unfortunately, but you need to tell the hard stuff. You need to go through that darkness to get to that light, that unity. And I think it falls on the responsibility of us, and not to be ignorant, not to brush it off or say this happened, this political affiliation happened, but tell about the unity, tell about what happened the day after, tell the goodness that comes out of it. And it sucked, 9/11, but the days following was even better. And that falls just like anything in history, like the Civil War, American Revolutionary War, it was the generation of people, the veterans who experienced it, the people, the families, everyone, they did that. And it's the responsibility of telling that story, telling the experience. And I think not letting it dissipate into the ethos that we call history. So.
Yeah. What a, wow, that was great.
Yeah, no.
Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, and I really appreciate it. I think this is something, I don't know how old you are or where you were, but it's something that needs to happen, I think.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing this and kids probably your age aren't, and that's big. And that's something that, what it means, you look at that and that's true. And it's very respectable and commendable, and, you know, it's just amazing to see that. And it's still kind of, you know, it's curious and everything, but it's just, you're doing your part, and you know, me sitting down here and whoever else sits down here is doing their part. And that's the only thing we can do. And I said, have faith, humanity, and continue to have the hope, love, and belief. And I think everything will turn out all right at the end of the day.
Thank
you know.
Yeah.
So
I think so too.
no,
Thanks,
appreciate
Matt.
it. No, Max, appreciate you.
Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah. Have a great day.
No, you too.
Thanks for sharing your story and perspective. And I think I was sleeping in my crib.
Yeah, I was 16 years old in my theology class, front row, which was crazy.
Yeah.
And I hate sitting front row.
Yeah.
We saw everything, and they made us watch it.
They made you watch it.
They made to watch the towers and everything. Hey,
Yeah.
Because you had to. You know, it's one of those things. It's like fortunately, like something that you couldn't turn away from. You had to do that.
Are you happy you saw it?
I'm happy that happened because I think that raw experience, and that actually led a lot of kids that I graduated high school with in 2003. I graduated high school, enlisted in the military, became politicians, made changes, did something for others, and I just don't think that experience, and I hope it doesn't happen. I hope it never happens. I hope you never have experience. I hope never kids after you and babies have experience. But seeing that tragedy made it even more stronger that we had to do something good. We had to do something better because this will never leave. It will always remember be in history books. But the fact that you witnessed it and teachers told you about it and everyone was in the same shit per se, you climbed out of it. And again, as I said, it's on us to tell us the story. Everyone has a story where they were. Everyone has their story. Everyone knew someone.
Yeah.
Everyone knew the events that happened. Everyone knew a close family member or friend or uncle or neighbor who enlisted to go fight this evil that has happened. And regardless of the conspiracy and political affiliation, it goes back to the union. What it stood. It stood for standing up for your neighbor. The golden rule, like do unto others what you want to do, and be a good person. And it's the gratitude that I have for everyone, and the gratitude that I have for you doing this interview. That it's amazing to see that, and you don't know, and it's crazy. Like people went to bed September 10th, 2001, thinking it will be a quote-unquote regular day, but is it really a regular day now? And I think now it's really the belief we have in each other as humans, and just smiling and being grateful for it, and being very thankful and doing our best we can, because we don't know when our last breath is, and when it comes to taking that last breath, when it comes that, or when it's time to put your head in the pillow, did you do the best you could to be a good human? You could be nice to someone, to sit down and actually interview someone, to have a conversation, to be someone who's open to everything. And I think that's, again, building back to just being unified and being a good person. So, this is awesome, Max.
Thank you.
You're the man.
I'm trying.
Yeah. You want to start class?
Appreciate it. So I'm a documentary student.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but this is I have a YouTube channel called Worlds,
no shit.
and I have a podcast weekly, and I
nice.
talk to random people, and every day I talk to random people, but I do these sit-down things every once in a while, and have people come up and share their perspectives and stories just to learn and listen. So
this is one way we can get through all this shit.
Yeah, we're trying. Hell yeah.
Man. All right,
Thank you
take
so
care.
much. See you later.
See you later.
Thank you to everyone who sat down and talked with me today and discussed what 9/11 means to them. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you all for listening. And never forget.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so bright